Okay, everybody. So I hope you saw the video that I made at 6 o'clock this morning about the lessons that I was brought this morning by the source, and now I would like to do a little evaluation on everything. Okay, and I have to say right off the bat that I'm dumbfounded by all of this. I'm dumbfounded by all of this. But this is in fact what Maya is. You see, I'm only going to refer you at this point to Papa G and Nisargadatta. And you have heard me say a million times, repeat Papa G's words, that we're all going to be deepening in the self until we take our last breath. You see? And this is why I said we were seeing Maya play out in that last video with all of those people who are supposedly, if you look at their outer persona, what they're showing to the world, they're all supposed to be realized beings. Well, Papa G was the only realized being who knew that we would all be deepening into the self until we took our last breath. I'm going to explain to you why. Because Mooji just put another video out that 10 seconds is all you need, deep inquiry. And I will put that in the description. And once again, I don't disagree with him. He's correct. If you're on your deathbed and time is running out, 10 seconds is all you need. All you need is to connect to that nothingness space, and then you're going to die. Well, that's where you'll spend all eternity, would be in the nothingness. But for people on a spiritual path, they're going back into the world. They're going back into Maya. They're going back to their families who are all asleep. And what will they have to do? They will have to transcend all of their attachments. They will have to transcend their religion. They will have to break all desires. Exactly what I've been telling you. This is what Papa G meant when he said we will be deepening in the self until we take our last breath. Because of these very reasons. Because we all have to break our attachments. We all have to transcend our desires. Transcend every single solitary concept that we had ever learned since the consciousness knew it was. This is why. And it has also been self-evident by these gurus out here that their egos are massive. Their egos are massive. That they would be willing to attack a person who is out here telling the truth. Yet, I have no problem saying, oh, I'm still working on this. Oh, more personhood just peeled away. I have no problem doing that. No, there is no ego here. There is no ego here. The problem is that all of these teachers have set themselves up in their own identity out here in the world as realized masters. And they have believed their own concept. They have believed their own name and fame. No, the deepening process continues until the very end, until the very second that we leave this form. A truly awake one understands this. So here's what I want to tell you. I'm not out here in competition with a goddamn person. I'm not out here in competition with anyone. But it appears that they're all, these big name gurus, they're all in competition with me. Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Let me give you a hint. It's called fear. Fear of exposure. That's what it's called. For the other one who said, oh, I see him as pure love, that was how I really saw him. This was my delusion. This was my Maya that I was still in. This is what the source showed me this morning. This was my delusion. I saw who he really was. And I've said all the time here that I see a lot more than I ever say. Well, this was it. This was it. There's another video he has out talking about the only thing he hasn't been able to overcome is his being a daredevil. He's an adrenaline junkie. Why is that? Well, go down deep. It's a fear of death. It's a fear of death. That's what it is. Okay? You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than death, that you can outsmart death, that you can beat death. That's what it's all about. That is what the adrenaline junkie syndrome is all about. How do I know? I was one my entire life. Which is why if you're a yogi does not mean you're a realized being. Yes, you may be enlightened. Does not mean you're a realized being. So what does one who is truly awake understand? Understands that we are all at different levels on the awakening process. Did I have a problem with that one, the one I said who was love, came from the heart? Did I have a problem with him talking about that there is realization and that there not realization, reincarnation and past lives? Did I have a problem with that? I absolutely did not. Why? Because as I said, this was his belief. This is where he is in consciousness right now. I had no problem with it. I was not in competition with him, but I was teaching what my guru taught me, which was the absolute truth, the ultimate truth. Not at the religion level, which was the ultimate truth. So he taught where he's at in consciousness. I was teaching where I was at in consciousness. But once again, this internet was not big enough for him and somebody else. Because he has over 1 million followers, is that supposed to intimidate me? As you can see, I have no fear. Because I am who I say I am. As far as the other one, this is the second time he's turned his back on me. He's not getting a third time. That's all I'm saying. He's not getting a third time. To give a person who has worked so diligently and so hard on the path to get where I am in consciousness as quickly as I've gotten in consciousness, that someone I called guru cannot even respect that, and outwardly just calls me a student, and there's lots of teachers out there. Well, I don't need any teachers out there. I am a teacher. This is why they're all attacking me. This is why they're all attacking me. The fake one, I just looked at her page. She put out something with a big temple saying that where she had her sannyas ceremony, whatever it was. Who cares? Who cares? Once again, we're at the religion level and we're in Maya. Who cares? What does that have to do with how she attacks every human being out on this internet? What does a sannyas ceremony have to do with how she attacks everybody on the internet? What does it have to do with anything? There are people who go into the priesthood who are raping children every day. What does any of these ceremonies have to do with anything? Because all that matters is what is in a human being's heart. And if your heart is closed up and black, doesn't matter how many ceremonies you go through. It doesn't mean anything to you. The vows you take mean nothing when you're a pathological liar. And you're so filled with fear that you have to tell everybody you're up there with Jesus Christ so that you're better than everybody else. And God forbid, anybody else comes up and starts teaching and has following. Well, that's a threat to that one. That's a threat to that one. Am I in competition with her? Nope. She's in competition with me, though. She's in big time competition with me. That she would outright lie and call me a criminal, saying that I was hacking into her computer. That's what kind of a liar she is. And all of you have bought it. And here's what I'm going to tell you where I stand. And I don't care who likes it and who doesn't like it. Okay? Because there's not one person out here who has completed their path. Not one. And if you're saying you completed your path, you are massively deluded. You are massively deluded. If you're still having sex, you haven't completed anything. You haven't reached God consciousness. Stop kidding yourself. Doesn't mean you're not self-realized, but you haven't completed anything. You still have desires to transcend. Okay? Can lie to the people, but don't lie to yourself. That's the biggest crime. Don't lie to yourself. And then sit there in judgment of probably one of your hardest working followers. I've surpassed everybody that's up there that's been living with you. And this is what I get. Oh, you're a student. There's many teachers out there. I don't need a teacher. I don't need a teacher. I am a teacher. And all of you gurus are following me. Why? Little old me with 130 something people on my page. Why are all of you gurus following me? Why are all of you gurus caring about what I say and do? Oh yes, a rare one. A rare one is who I am. And how rare am I? I'm not in competition with anyone. And even though you're all ignorant and you're all in delusion because you can't even see your own delusion because you have stopped doing introspection because you believe your own lie. You believed your own lie. You had too many people touching your feet. You had too many people bowing down to you. You started to believe the lie. There's that duppy in the house. There's that duppy in the house. And you sit in judgment. You sit in judgment. Well, you know what? I won't sit in judgment of you. Because I will respect what I learned from you. As I respect what I learned from the former guru. How all of his abuse has woken me up like this. I will respect that in him. Because I am awake and I can see it. I will respect what I learned from the other one who I said was coming from the heart. Who's out here smearing me. I will respect what I learned from the fake one. How fighting with her just got rid of all my rage. She was put on my path for a reason. And for that whistleblower chick, there's nothing to even look at her. She's totally in delusion. I can only pity her. Another one, working in fear. What do? You pity them. Hope they wake up. That's all. That's all. I'm in competition with no one. With no one. And this is what the source has helped me see this morning. This was my delusion. This was my delusion. Although I was seeing these things in these so-called big name gurus, I saw it the whole time. I overlooked it. I overlooked it. Because, especially with the one I was following, I understand he is a realized being. He would not be able to tell you exactly what the personhood was and how to transcend it if he wasn't, but he's not finished. And he sits in judgment of others as if he is finished, which is only ego. He would not ever be judging anybody out here, which is only ego. And I'm done with all of this. Okay? I'm done with all of it. Now, if you people are not seeing what I just said, please understand you are in delusion, you are in Maya, and if your goal is to reach enlightenment, you need to do some serious introspection. Understand what happens when you transcend the personhood. When you transcend ego, there is no more fear. You are not in competition with anyone any longer. You only wish the best for people. And you do not go out purposely hurting others. You surely don't accuse others of criminal activity without proof. Knowing how I have been brutalized by Nithyananda and his goons. It was just an outright pathological lie. And she wants to show a Hindu temple and a sannyas ceremony. Who cares? Who cares? She's demon possessed. That means nothing. There's hundreds of priests in the Catholic Church who did some kind of ceremony too, who are now raping children for fun. Okay? Big deal, she did a ceremony. It's not about a ceremony. Ceremony is in the personhood. It's all about what's in your heart. And she proves on a regular basis what's in her heart. No, I don't have competition with any single one of them. I don't have hatred in my heart for any single one of them. I am dumbfounded by all of this. I am dumbfounded. This is my own ignorance. Once again, we're supposed to be a spiritual community. The leaders out here, we're supposed to be helping people wake up, not tearing each other down. Well, that is Maya in a nutshell, isn't it? That is Maya in a nutshell, isn't it? Spiritual leaders tearing each other down because they're not awake enough and have enough self-confidence and assurity in themselves and understand that they're not finished. To ever think that they're better than somebody else or have to be in fear enough that they have to hurt other people because they're so afraid. I am just beside myself. I will forever say that I would recommend for everyone to go and watch Mooji satsangs and identify with the personhood is. I will continuously say that. That's where I will draw the line. I will no longer post Mooji's things on my page. I'm taking down that invitation. You know where he is. You know where his stuff is. Have at it. Have at it. Here is his words coming back to haunt him. Yet people will take advantage of you. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. So let me reiterate. Yes, if you only had 10 seconds before you died, you could do the invitation and find that nothingness space and then die and leave the form and remain there forever. But for most people on a spiritual path, they have a glimpse of the nothingness space, and then they have to go back in Maya and go to work and go back to their sleeping families and go back to their sleeping friends. Go back to the sleeping spiritual community and go through bullshit like this. Okay? So yeah, what has to happen is a continuous growth process. It's a continuous peeling away process of the personhood. It's a continuous breaking of attachments. It's a continuous transcending of desires. It's a continuous understanding of the concepts and transcending of the concepts. Continuous until the last breath we take. That is the truth. That is the truth. Now, you won't be blessed. I have no animosity towards anybody out here. I am fully disgusted with this community. I'm fully disgusted with it. But I will pray for every last one of you. Be blessed.